सुनने वालों को सिराज ज़ैदी का बहुत बहुत आदाब नमस्कार. Welcome to the program. This is Apna Radio broadcasting at 93.9 Dublin South FM. This is your own Apna Radio, a culture program about India culture, putting together the news about India from Charmain Colvin and our London correspondent Sharad Awasthi. Each Thursday from 3 to 4, here I am in the studio talking to you directly wherever you are in the world. So, tune me in. Siraj Zaidi ka sunne walon ko bahut bahut adab namaskar and good afternoon. You're very welcome to the program. You're listening to Apna Radio broadcasting at 93.9 Dublin South FM every Thursday from 4 to 5. Oh, sorry, beg your pardon, 3 to 4. I'm here with you and you shall be with me until 4 o'clock. I hope you'll stay with me because some interesting stuff today, as usual. Never a dull moment with me when it comes to air and the program and the content of the program. Because we have delectable news item and of course we have also the expert and the contributor from London, Sharad Awasthi. So all in all, program looks very good today. So sit back, relax and enjoy the program. And here's the news item.
Good afternoon, I'm Charmain Colvin and here is your weekly news update on Apna Radio 93.9 Dublin South FM. A deadly crush last weekend caused by overcrowding has killed more than 18 people and injured many more. According to officials, 2 trains had been delayed at the New Delhi railway station in India's capital, while a third heading to Prayagraj city, where the massive Hindu religious festival 𝐒𝐻𝐽 is being held, was waiting to depart as people pushed against each other. The crash occurred after a passenger slipped and fell onto the stairs, according to Indian Railways staff. Opposition leaders have criticised the government, claiming that Indian Railways had not made adequate arrangements to deal with the crowds at the station. The latest tragedy comes at the back of an even bigger fatal incident, which saw 30 people killed and many injured in a crash at the 𝐒𝐻𝐽. An investigation has been launched and authorities have announced compensation for the victims, but many of the families are angry that police officials and authorities did not act in time. Overcrowding at the railway station was not unexpected, as trains are by far the cheapest long-distance mode of transport in India, and it is common for the number of passengers to far exceed the capacity of trains. 2 years after ChatGPT made a global impact, China's DeepSeek has sent ripples through the tech industry by collapsing the cost for developing generative artificial intelligence applications. India, however, appears to be lagging behind as the global race for AI supremacy heats up, in particular in creating its own foundational language model that is used to power things like chatbots. The government, however, claims a homegrown equivalent to DeepSeek is on the horizon, and it is supplying startups, universities and researchers with thousands of high-end chips needed to develop it in under 10 months. OpenAI CEO Sam Altman said this month that India should be playing a leading role in the AI revolution, given that India is now OpenAI's second largest market by users. Despite significant investment by companies such as Microsoft to the tune of $2.4 billion for cloud and AI infrastructure, and with over 200 startups working on generative AI, India still risks lagging behind without basic structural fixes to education, research and state policy. China and the US already have a 5-year head start, having invested heavily in research and academia and developed AI for military applications, law enforcement and large language models. Both were granted 80% of the world's total AI patents between 2010 and 2022, whereas India got less than 0.5%. India's government has invested $1 billion to develop AI. By contrast, the US has invested an incredible $500 billion to build a massive AI infrastructure, while China has invested $137 billion to become an AI hub by 2030. Despite this, India claims more than 15% of the world's AI workers, although research shows that due to a lack of supporting research environment, many are choosing to leave India for other countries. Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi has made his first visit to Washington under Donald Trump's second term. Trump announced expanded US military sales to India from 2025, including F-35 jets, along with increased oil and gas exports to narrow the trade deficit. Both sides agreed to negotiate a trade deal and finalise a new defence framework. He also confirmed the US had approved the extradition of Tahawar Rana, a Chicago businessman accused of playing a role in the 2008 terror attack in Mumbai. Modi's visit came as Trump ordered that US trading partners should face reciprocal tariffs, tit-for-tat import taxes to match similar duties already charged by those countries on American exports. India enjoys a trade surplus with the US, its top trading partner. And in a bid to preempt Trump's new tariff policy, India cut average tariffs from 13% to 11% in its federal budget. In a rare move, Modi joined Trump at a press conference, answering questions on illegal immigration and the US Department of Justice bribery charges against the Adani Group. Indian billionaire Gautam Adani, accused of close ties with Modi, was charged with fraud in the US last November over an alleged $250 million bribery scheme. Modi said it hadn't been discussed with Trump, and on immigration he stated India was ready to take back verified illegal Indian migrants. A controversial Indian court ruling that a man's forced unnatural sex with his wife is not an offence has led to huge outrage and sparked calls for better protections for married women. The order has also brought back into the spotlight the issue of marital rape in a country which has stubbornly refused to criminalise it. Earlier this week, a High Court judge in the central Indian state of Chhattisgarh set free a 40-year-old man who was convicted by a trial court in 2019 of rape and unnatural sex with his wife, who died within hours of the alleged assault. The lower court had also found the man guilty of culpable homicide, not amounting to murder. He was sentenced to rigorous imprisonment for 10 years on each count, but this week was acquitted of all charges by a High Court judge. The judge said that since India did not recognise marital rape, the husband could not be considered guilty of non-consensual sex or any non-consensual unnatural sex act. The judgment has been met with anger as activists, lawyers and campaigners renew their calls to criminalise marital rape in India. Olympic shooter Manu Bharkar has been named BBC Indian Sportswoman of the Year for 2024 after a global public vote. The 22-year-old was recognised for her historic achievement in becoming the first Indian woman to win 2 medals at a single Olympic Games. Bharkar became the first Indian woman to win an Olympic medal in shooting when she won bronze in the women's 10-metre air pistol in Paris. 2 days later, she won a second bronze alongside Sarabjot Singh in the mixed 10-metre air pistol. So that's all from me. You have been listening to Apna Radio 93.9 Dublin South FM.
Thank you so much indeed, Charmain. What a lovely, lovely content that you have actually broadcasted today and in this program. And food for the thought, as usual, each week, whatever the news is. And we try to brood over all the content of the news and what's going on in India, particularly on a week-to-week basis. But I suppose the majority of the people don't give a damn about the content that we try to actually project and rebroadcast that to India. Yes, listeners, you should be able to understand that we are now rebroadcasting in Radio Noida and Radio Raipur and many other parts of the world, including UK, Middle East, Dubai, and all those places where actually our news item and our program has been rebroadcasted. So that is fantastic news in that sense. But looking into the overall situation that Kumbh Mela incident and how Indian Railway are inadequate in order to cope with the transportation. But my point has always been that how our neighbouring China, with a certain population, because everybody blames that, India's population is the culprit population. Well, I mean, India is not the only one with a huge, large population. China has got a large population, so as the other countries have. How they're coping, and particularly China, how they're coping, how they have an upper hand in, as Charmain has said, AI world, we will not be, ahead of the game with artificial intelligence and things like that. So that is very, very important for Indians to think about it and, up their game, because if you are competing with the world out there, you have to up your game in order to compete, in order to be ahead of the game. So that is the unfortunate situation, but there you go. But majority of the people are in denial. Those who died have died just because, they were perhaps part of the Andhavishwas, that if you die in Kumbh Mela and all that, you'll go to heaven and everything. But that's part and parcel of the actual culture of India in many ways, and you would not blame anybody else but the people themselves. They should have a better understanding, a better mind to interpret or to foresee the future of their, travels and internal travels I'm talking about. External travels, yes, and external travels, I'll talk about that some other time. And here, what is happening in Ireland as well is that incredible amount of people are coming, particularly students are coming as a soft immigration point. And that is something, a cause of concern, but not for the government, Irish government, because they're making money out of Indian students and they're coming in large sums of volumes at the college like UCD, Trinity College, and DBS, and all those colleges where the colleges are making packets of money from Indian students. And what the students are doing, they're borrowing the money from the bank. Their parents are borrowing the money from the bank and paying it back, or indeed FD, as they call it, fixed deposit accounts, which has been created for the children there when they're born, gets matured by the age they've reached 30 odd plus or 20 odd plus, and then they get utilized. So it's a state of affair. But what do they do here? That's a big question. That they struggle to find a part-time job. They struggle to find a full-time job after graduation and after doing this one-year master program. Everybody was doing one-year masters in MBA or in this and that, the other, and trying to actually, then settle here. After 4 years or 3 years, they get a permanent job and then apply for the nationality and nationalization. Ireland is the only country in Europe, particularly in Europe, which actually has opened its floodgates for the Indians. And it'll pay a price, I'm telling you now. But in 10 years' time, you'll see the crisis among the community. At the moment is all nicey, hunky-dory. Everybody celebrates their festivals. Everybody celebrates. And I'm part of it because I really do provide cultural outlets to the Indian community, to my film festival. And of course, this radio is there as well to give them analysis on what's going on, to look into that, because media industry is the only industry which analyzes these issues. Otherwise, if you're working in any other sector like IT sector or health sector, which is employing majority of the Indians, you don't overanalyze these things. You go to work, you go to do the job, and you come home and watch your own television channel, own satellite channels, or cable TVs of your own channel, not RTE1, not RTE2, not BBC1, BBC2. Majority of the Indians are watching their own channels, so they live in their own cultural clusters, so to speak. And I wouldn't call it ghetto, because ghetto is not the word, but culture cluster, because it's surrounded by the festivity. Now, the Holi is coming up next month in March. Then, Durga Puja will be happening in October. Various other, pujas happens. Yes, talking about the pujas, we have HCCI, Vishwa Hindu Culture Centre of Ireland, HCCI, Vishwa, actually, VCCI, which is a beautiful place. I'm part and parcel of the development of it for years and years ago. I helped raise funds for Hindu temple, and still they are able to cater the needs of the community by celebration. I think Marathi community is celebrating something, Maharaja Ranjit Singh, or whatever, Maratha King, whatever his name is. Yes, Maharaja Ranjit Singh, and people, and the film that is also released here. How full that film is going. Marathi community is really enjoying it. But that's another big topic that I would like to talk about it. How the tradition, some of the time, our tradition of digging up the the old wounds between the Mughal Empire and the Hindu kings and Maharajas and things like that, and the youngsters are blaming that they had been taught, aggressively the period of Mughal Empire, and ask learn by heart the heroic achievement of Akbar, Shah Jahan, and all that, but they've not been given any historical reality of Maratha king and this, that, the other. This thing is actually is a absolutely nonsense and obnoxious way of actually degrading the contribution of the Mughal Empire to India. Actually, today, if you go there, you would be visiting those sites built by the Mughal Empire, not by the Maratha things, and not by the other Maharajas and things like that. But there you go, palaces and the culture of India is very complex, and everybody is claiming that this film, which is making a news these days, is an interesting film, and that is very, very a good film, I think, visually speaking, and also the acting wise. Akshay Khanna has been praised to play the Mughal king, and also the Vicky Kaushal. Vicky Kaushal has been, and of course my friend, what's her name? She was here at my festival for a couple of times. Divya Datta, she played an important role as well, and the name will come in my mind in a minute. But that's what it is. I mean, every month you will see some sort of a films and things like that, which will be projecting the Mughal versus Hindu Maharaja, Hindu king, like Tanhaji. Tanhaji was another film Ajay Devgan, Saif Ali Khan played against each other, and the Mughal king has been defeated, and heroic tension between the two. Okay, it was there, but the way it's actually coming in films as a propaganda under the current regime is not fair at all, because the historical facts, you cannot destroy it. Enough. I will take a second clip, which is Sharad Awasthi has put together about the deal between Mr. Trump and Modi, and what a dreadful deal it is.
Good afternoon. Great to be here again. Today, we are going to discuss the US-India-Trump-Modi deal. It was supposed to be a meeting between the two leaders of two powerful nations. However, it seems to have turned into a meeting of two businessmen. If you closely examine the deal and analyze the joint statement issued by the US and the Indian governments, you will find that India has nearly been sold out to America. India appears to be on the back foot for reasons best known to the government, particularly on the crucial issues such as defense, manufacturing, Indian IT companies, tariffs, custom duties, oil and gas, and many more. And the interdependent consequences of these are immense. There are several issues that Indians expected to be addressed in this top Trump-Modi meeting. The problems Indians face in the United States, they would be discussed and resolved, but none of them were being taken up. As acknowledged in the joint statement, Indian students contribute approximately $8 billion annually to US economy, which is about 70,000 crore rupees. However, despite this significant contribution, issues such as stringent visa restrictions, challenging work conditions for the students, the long waiting period for the Indian workers, and the long-term stay visa, they were not discussed. Ironically, the Indian diaspora, particularly students in the US, have been among Modi's strongest supporter when it comes to Indian politics. Yet, they were overlooked and left unattended by the Indian leadership. Indian IT companies, as you know, face multiple challenges in the US, including taxation issues and social security deductions, the equivalent of Provident Fund in the US. Billions of dollars are deducted from the temporary Indian workers, but these funds remain unrefunded after these Indians return back to India. Nothing was said about this money, which rightfully belongs to us Indians. Look at this. The Indian leadership also failed to raise concern about the disrespectful treatment of Indian deportees by the US authorities. They were brought in shackles, in chains and ropes, tied hands and legs. While leaders like King of Jordan boldly protested and rejected Trump's Gaza redevelopment plan. And look at Colombian president who refused to allow American planes to land with those deportations. But our Indian Prime Minister failed to even stand up for the dignity of those aspiring Indians who took the donkey route to fight the unemployment in India. So coming back to the deal, many controversial topics have emerged, and it is clear that several aspects are detrimental to long-term India's well-being. I'll come to them. Currently, India imports cheap Russian oil, but Trump wants to export American oil and gas to India, an undoubtedly more expensive option. Why is India allowing the import of those costly American oil? Because the Americans have been able to push this deal because no one is buying American oil. Historically, Russia has been a stable and reliable partner for India in both good and bad times. In contrast, successive American governments have unwavering support for Pakistan, and they have been providing full military and strategic backing just against India. So now we are supporting the friends of our enemy. Not too long ago, the same US President Donald Trump threatened India immediately after the Namaste Trump rally in Ahmedabad. So he threatened India with retaliation if it did not supply HCQ, hydroxychloroquine tablets, which was then considered as a miracle drug for COVID-19. And this proves that the America's stance toward India is unstable and unreliable when compared to that with Russia. So there is a consequence when Mr. Trump and Modi does a deal. Buying American oil will weaken India's long-standing friendship with Russia, which is crucial in countering Chinese aggression. China and Russia are on friendly terms, so we got a bridge there to control the Chinese mission. Additionally, shifting towards the American sphere of influence will diminish India's strategic advantage within the BRICS. Clearly, this puts India at a disadvantage in its relationship with Russia, Brazil, and China. On the defense front, India is co-developing its 5th generation fighter jets, the Su-57, with Russia. Now that will be jeopardized if India were to accept the American defense deal of F-35 fighter jets. So we go to the next topic of F-35 fighter jets. Interestingly, Donald Trump himself, while campaigning for the presidency, the first presidency 8 years ago, he spoke about the failures of F-35 program. And now, more recently, Elon Musk, his right-hand man, if you say, Elon Musk also criticized this fighter jet's performance, both technologically and economically. Yet, under Prime Minister Mr. Modi's leadership, India has agreed to purchase the F-35, a highly expensive jet that does not align with India's defense requirements. Then, there is this nuclear deal, which was initially negotiated under former Prime Minister late Manmohan Singh. At the time, Modi's BJP, while in opposition, strongly opposed the strength of the clause, the civil liability clause in that deal, that is 2008. However, today, the same clause has been diluted under Modi's leadership. The question is why? What is civil liability clause? For simplicity, it is the clause which ensures that American companies, or for that matter any foreign companies which is operating nuclear power plant in India, will be held accountable for the loss of lives, damages, environmental harm, and cleanup cost in the event of any accident. So if you remember, last year also we did a program on Bhopal gas tragedy. History has shown that in the absence of such clause, as it was in the case of Union Carbide and the 1984 Bhopal gas tragedy, victims even today continue to suffer due to inadequate healthcare, expensive healthcare, and the financial compensation. It is only reasonable that Indians be protected against industrial accidents for which the foreign governments are responsible, and in this case, in the same way as the Americans are. Notably, the compensation received by Bhopal gas tragedy victims was only 5% to what the Americans received when the British petroleum oil spill happened in the Gulf of Mexico. So on the issue of tariff next, Donald Trump has boldly declared that US will continue with reciprocal tariff. So that means whatever tariff India imposes, the US will also do the same. Meanwhile, the Indian Prime Minister Mr. Modi remained unresponsive to the critical need of India to protect its industries and craftsmen. On one side, we are talking about Atmanirbhar Bharat, the self-reliant India, but then we are playing in the hands of the America First doctrine. India has also reduced tariff on products that is just not particularly needed, such as American alcoholic drinks, where the tariffs was slashed from 100% to 50% just before Mr. Modi went to America. Similarly, the import duty on American Harley-Davidson motorbikes was reduced from 150% to 50%. This is just to please the American leadership. And what this reduction is going to do is hurt severely the Indian two-wheeler manufacturers who are competing in the luxury market. Tariffs have been lowered on cars, heavy engines, and certain food items, all of which seems unnecessary concessions. Why? We are pleasing the American government. Why are we pleasing Trump? Meanwhile, India was unable to negotiate tax rebates, concessions, or relief for Indian IT workers, Indian IT companies, and students in the US. Instead, India should have imposed an additional 5% charge on all Indian IT services exported to US, and that industry itself is worth $100 billion annually. That would have really benefited India. So, in this battle of tariff, India has lost miserably. Rather than strengthening Atmanirbhar Bharat, India has ceded further grounds to the Americanization of its market. Even the foreign universities now will have an offshore campus in India. So we are so incapable. Indian universities are not able to hold on to the Indian education system. Now we need foreigners to teach the Indian students. Diplomatically too, Prime Minister Modi appeared weak. He was given an unceremonious welcome at the Washington airport without the red carpet treatment or the presence of a senior US leader. Ideally, it should have been Trump himself or the vice president to receive him. This is in stark contrast to the warmth and the honor extended to same US President Mr. Trump upon his arrival in India some 6 years ago. While Godi media has crafted narrative to falsely project this visit as a diplomatic success, the reality is that India has been reduced to a dumping ground for American interest. Defense, manufacturing, agriculture, everything. The US has successfully sold India outdated technologies it does not need, such as nuclear power plants. So for context, the last time US built a nuclear power plant was latest in 1977. That's nearly 45 years ago. Since then, it has built only one additional plant. So why is India buying outdated expertise, nuclear power expertise from America? Additionally, the US has managed to create a rift in India's defense partnership with Russia, which has been the backbone of India's military strategy. During the press conference, if you have observed, when asked about the Chinese threat to India, President Trump failed to provide a clear support for India. And this itself speaks volume about the true intent behind these business deals and the America's lack of commitment to Indian objectives. However, Trump cannot be blamed for this prioritization of America's interest. After all, it is his America First policy. The blame squarely lies on the Indian leadership with Mr. Modi for allowing himself to appear gullible. With all these examples, it is evident that the Americans have mastered the art of inflating the Indian Prime Minister's ego, feeding the Godi media with narratives for public consumption, and ultimately securing deals that benefit only the United States. Here's a piece of conspiracy theory. All these gifts have been given to the American government in order to save the leadership's best friend. With those thoughts, I leave you this week. I'll be back again next week with some more revelations, with more reasoning. Till then, stay informed, stay safe. Bye for now.
Dublin South FM. You wouldn't buy a car without knowing its history. So why would you buy a story without knowing who's telling it? Come here and I tell you. It's not always easy to verify what you see, read, or hear. But now there's help. Visit www.bemediasmart.ie. Stop, think, check. Be Media Smart. Brought to you by Media Literacy Ireland, supported by RTE. 93.9 Dublin South FM.
Indeed, this is Dublin South FM broadcasting at 93.9, and you have listened at the debacle that is going on between the so-called under the friendship agreement between US and India. Why Mr. Modi is licking up to Mr. Donald Trump's backside, who knows why? I don't understand, because right now this bull in the China shop is going around the world. Sometime he wants to go to Gaza to build the Gaza Riviera. And he threatens to Europe with a tariff, and he goes to India to bully India for selling oil. I mean, hello, why people are failing to understand? What can he do if you say no to him? What can he do? You have a sovereignty. You are a sovereign nation. And as a sovereign nation, you cannot just, keep bending yourself backward and letting him walk all over you in deals, in business agreements and all the rest of it. You should be able to decide what is your future by yourself, by your own expert, by intellectuals, by experts which are experts in business and in foreign deals and things like that. Not because he's a deal maker. He's a cheap businessman. That's all he is. Remember years ago when he was in the first term, he went with the rate card like a salesman to Saudi Arabia and talking to Salman, MBS as we call him, Mohammed bin Salman, and he was showing him the F-16 fighter jet and all those Apache helicopters and all that, and said, oh, this is just a 50 million worth of equipment. It's a tea money for you. It's just the peanuts for you. Buy this, buy this, buy this. And this is exactly what he does, selling second-rated, third-rated, faulty equipments to dumping to India, because there is no logic behind thinking about the safety of Indian first. No, for him, it's the deals and America first. And yet, on the other hand, treating Indians so badly. Okay, who doesn't overstate in America? Irish stays in America overstay and all that. They don't deport handcuffed people and chained back to Ireland, do they? Have you heard of that? Have you seen any of this story? Why are you insulting the Indians in America by sending them in a handcuffed and chiefed? Okay, if they're illegal immigrants, because there are no jobs in India for youth. There are no future for them. So they are using agents, a scrupulous agent, so-called donkey flight, as we call them. And they took all sorts of routes to get to America, and just to earn money, just to enough to send them back, earn to raise their family, and meager, rather than, and you're catching them up and sending them back to India. In humiliation. Why do you need to humiliate them? No other country does that. as has been explored. So I mean, enough is enough. Stiff up your attitude. You're not lacking behind. Your youth are qualified, young, intelligent, educated youth serving big companies in your country. Head of Google, head of this and head of that, all Sundar Pichai, all of these guys are Indian guys running a company. Elon Musk company is run by Indians there. So that Indian talent is out there and paying huge amount of taxes. And those taxes are not being given back to them when they return back to India. How appalling it is. How humiliating, how insulting, how degrading, I'm just so flabbergasted with all this kind of development that is going on at the moment between US and India. And we, the Indians, are not lacking behind, licking up to Americans. Everything is America, America, America. What is America? What America? Same in our film industry as well. Hollywood, Hollywood, Hollywood. Do they talk about Bollywood, Bollywood, Bollywood? No, they don't. So there you go. Therefore, no American star is smitten by Mr. Bachchan or Shah Rukh Khan or Akshay Khanna or our stars. On the other hand, our stars are always quoting Al Pacino, and all those. Like, why? I mean, they're actors in their own country, doing work in their own language and with their own culture. You do your own, and this looking up as a superior American thing. It boils my blood because this really is bullshit. That's what I can BS. So excuse my expression. This Americanization of India and subjugating yourself in front of India with America is just something that I really want to wake you up with your conscience. But be proud, Indian. Be strong, because your knowledge, your education level is far, far exceeding with an average American person, and particularly this president of America at the moment is something else. Anyway, I'll come back to you about another point that is going on in Europe, but I would take a track at this stage. I'm not. How do I say? I'm boiling to play this track.
क्या खूब लगती हो, बड़ी सुंदर दिखती हो, क्या खूब लगती हो, बड़ी सुंदर दिखती हो।
मेरे से कहो, कहते रहो, अच्छा लगता है। जीवन का हर सपना अब सच्चा लगता है।
क्या खूब लगती हो, बड़ी सुंदर दिखती हो, क्या खूब लगती हो, बड़ी सुंदर दिखती हो। मेरे सीने में सांस रहेगी जब तक,
तब तक मैं रहूंगी मन में, हाँ मन में।
सूरज होगा जब तक नील गगन में।
तेरे से कहो, कहते रहो, अच्छा लगता है। जीवन का हर सपना अब सच्चा लगता है।
ओ क्या खूब लगती हो, बड़ी सुंदर दिखती हो, तुम प्यार से प्यारी हो, तुम जान हमारी हो। खुश हो न मुझे तुम पाकर मुझे पाकर
प्यासे दिल को आज मिला है सागर
क्या दिल में है और तमन्ना है तमन्ना
हर जीवन में तुम मेरे ही बनना
फिर से कहो कहती रहो अच्छा लगता है
जीवन का हर सपना अब सच्चा लगता है
ओ क्या खूब लगती हो बड़ी सुंदर दिखती हो
प्यार से प्यारे हो
तुम जान हमारी हो
प्यार से प्यारे हो
तुम जान हमारी हो
जी मेरे भाइयों, क्या खूब लगती हो, बड़ी सुंदर दिखती हो। और कभी कभी कुछ लोग बड़े सुंदर दिखते हैं जब उनकी तस्वीर आप देखते हैं, और जब उनको देखते हैं तो सुंदर दिखना भी एक दिल के लिए बड़ी अच्छी बात होती है. Anyway, I'm talking about another incident that is happening right now in London, and that is basically about India. Why the super Indians are actually, and we will cover this topic in a much details in analytical form. Perhaps Sharad will do it a good deal of great justice on this topic. Adar Poonawala. Remember the guy I was talking to you about a few weeks ago, that he had made a deal with Karan Johar for 100 million, 100 crores or whatever it is, or 1,000 crores, in fact, 1,000 crores. Now, this man is a billionaire, Adar Poonawala. He's a billionaire with this, company behind him is the vaccine company. He's a vaccine tycoon, I would say. That is the biggest residential property in London is understood to have been agreed just before the Christmas actually break between Adar Poonawala and the Indian billionaire and here to, he's a vaccine fortune guy, to reach the deal of Aberconway House. Now, Aberconway House is in Mayfair of London, the most expensive area of London, for £138 million, according to some reliable financial sources. Adar Poonawala is the CEO of Serum Institute of India, the company founded by his father, Cyrus, so he's a Parsi guy. That is the world's largest producer of vaccine. It will be the second highest amount of money known to be paid for a London house after 8 Rutland Gate. Now, Poonawala had previously been renting Aberconway House for 50,000 a week, £50,000 a week before they bought it. So that's another unusual way of sort of spending money. And why? Because the record shows that Adar Poonawala struck a deal with the Aberconway House with Polish heiress Dominiska Kulzuki, the daughter of late Jan Kulzuki, who was once the richest man in Poland. Now, the Giga Prime spot will now be the most expensive transaction home made in London between an Indian businessman and a London property owner. What is that going on there? Why everybody is bent upon spending or hiding their money, dumping their money in London? So they are actually, doing what we call in financial world flight capital. Now, flight capital is something taking out the money, if not the easy way, because he's trapping the business people for not allowing them to take the petty business cash from outside India to abroad. And here we go. Bigger deals are happening. Mr. Bachchan, Amitabh Bachchan's brother, Ajitabh Bachchan, is also based in London, involved in many, many big deals. And lot of billionaire Indians are actually, feeling very second homely and comfortable in London by spending billions and billions to to buy a property, invest into a property. So there's something wrong in the state of Denmark, as the Shakespeare have said. There's something wrong, seriously wrong, in Indian economy. And we will look into this, the phenomena of flight capital and people leaving their cash or dumping it elsewhere. But the rich people always do that, and they always look for, through the Cayman Island and through the Jersey Island or through the Guernsey Island, as we call it, the deals do take place of illegal money that's cash to them. Anyway, I'll take another track, and this one is another interesting Mukesh track. I'll stay with Mukesh today.
कभी यूं ही जब हुई बोझल सांसें भर आई बैठे बैठे जब यूं ही आंखें कभी यूं ही जब हुई बोझल सांसें भर आई बैठे बैठे जब यूं ही आंखें तभी मचल के प्यार से चल के छुए कोई मुझे पर नजर न आए कहीं दूर जब दिन ढल जाए सांझ की दुल्हन बदन चुराए चुपके से आए कहीं तो ये दिल कभी मिल नहीं पाते कहीं पे निकल आए जन्मों के नाते कहीं तो ये दिल कभी मिल नहीं पाते कहीं पे निकल आए जन्मों के नाते है मीठी उलझन गैरी अपना मन अपना ही होके सहे दर्द पर आए कहीं दूर जब दिन ढल जाए सांझ की दुल्हन बदन चुराए चुपके से आए कैसे मेरे सपने सुनहरे दिल जाने मेरे सारे भेद ये कह रहे हो गए कैसे मेरे सपने सुनहरे ये मेरे सपने यही तो हैं अपने मुझसे जुदा ना होंगे इनके ये साए कहीं दूर जब दिन ढल जाए सांझ की दुल्हन बदन चुराए चुपके से आए मेरे ख्यालों के आंगन में कोई सपनों के दीप जलाए कहीं दूर जब दिन ढल जाए सांझ की दुल्हन बदन चुराए चुपके से आए
कहीं दूर जब दिन ढल जाए Mukesh at his best. There's another beautiful song lined up, the next one, Jis Gali Mein Tera Ghar Na Ho Balma, which I'm going to play in a minute. But these are the highlights of the program today. I have actually put together quite a few topics and highlighted those ones who are needed to be discussed in the future. What else needs to be discussed is that anything which concerns, the Indian culture, Indian people, Indian backgrounds, I try to actually cover that in the news here at Dublin South FM 93.9 each Thursday from 3 to 4 p.m. because this is our own Apna program, and we shall be creating very soon a Apna music program, because this is our own delectable presenter that's contributed to this program while I was in India. Will be, presenting it here, and so I'm working on it and hoping that that she will present that program once we have sorted out the technical issues of launching a new program. Imran Khanum is the name of the lady who been part and parcel of the Apna Radio, and she soon will be the presenter of the Apna music program. But anyway, that's the news for the listeners. What kind of songs she'll play, it's up to her. She's in charge of that and all that. But it'll still be produced by myself, your own producer of Apna series of music, news, current affairs, and things like that. So this is your own Apna Radio. Each week we try to actually cover as much ground as possible. So again, as I said, the halfway through, we are going through another interesting month of February. February is also synonymous and parallel with the Shaban, the Islamic calendar. And in 2 weeks' time, there will be Ramadan, or Ramadan, as you call it. And I shall be talking about the do's and don'ts of Ramadan in a couple of weeks' time, when it'll start, and how to fast, what not to fast, and when not to fast, and all the the little nuances which are attached to the month of Ramadan. But in the meantime, I am sticking to the kind of headlines, kind of news which are going on at the moment. Oh yeah, by the way, who cares, by the way, for this particular type of news? But Rishi Sunak and his wife, and multi-millionaire again, who hoodwinked the Conservative Party for a term and humiliated by in the last election and being defeated by Keir Starmer, is in India at the moment, posing himself in front of Taj Mahal. Taj Mahal, hello. And again, Shah Jahan built that Taj Mahal. Excuse me, it's a Mughal emperor who built those monuments where people are beginning to, posing around and things like that. So, another news, another song. Sit back, relax, and enjoy.
उस गली से हमें तो गुजरना नहीं, जो डगर तेरे द्वारे पे जाती न हो, उस डगर पे हमें पाँव रखना नहीं, जिस गली में तेरा घर न हो बालमा। किसी की मुस्कुराहटों पे हो निसार, किसी का दर्द मिल सके तो ले उधार, किसी के वास्ते हो तेरे दिल में प्यार, जीना इसी का नाम है। किसी की मुस्कुराहटों पे हो निसार, किसी का दर्द मिल सके तो ले उधार, किसी के वास्ते हो तेरे दिल में प्यार, जीना इसी का नाम है। माना अपनी जेब से फकीर है, फिर भी यारो दिल के हम अमीर हैं। माना अपनी जेब से फकीर है, फिर भी यारो दिल के हम अमीर हैं। मिटे जो प्यार के लिए वो जिंदगी, जले बहार के लिए वो जिंदगी, किसी को हो ना हो हमें तो एतबार, जीना इसी का नाम है। रिश्ता दिल से दिल के एतबार का, जिंदा है हमी से नाम प्यार का। रिश्ता दिल से दिल के एतबार का, जिंदा है हमी से नाम प्यार का। के मर के भी किसी को याद आएंगे, किसी के आंसुओं में मुस्कुराएंगे, कहेगा फूल हर कली से बार बार, जीना इसी का नाम है। किसी की मुस्कुराहटों पे हो निसार, किसी का दर्द मिल सके तो ले उधार, किसी के वास्ते हो तेरे दिल में प्यार, जीना इसी का नाम है।
That's it, folks, and thank you very much for listening. Apna Radio at 93.9 Dublin South FM. I'm out of the studio, and I, feel free to get out wherever you are listening to my program until next week. Bye for now. Enjoy the weekend.
आवारा हूँ या गर्दिश में हूँ, आसमान का तारा हूँ।